right, Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm here with my man, Rob Acosta, strength and conditioning coach. Stephen Coolboy Fulton, getting ready for the Brandon Figueroa rematch on February 1st in Las Vegas on Amazon Pay-Per-View Prime. Long overdue, I thought the first fight was tremendous. I did think Fulton got the decision. I thought the right guy won, but now they're facing each other again for another WBC title. So, how's training camp been? What's without giving out the game plan, how's Scooter been?
He's good. He's good. He's focused, man. He knows that Brandon is a workhorse. He know that Brandon is a great fighter. He's coming to fight. He's coming to what we say is get his lick back. So it's
Mhm.
like, he knows he's gonna be on point. And that's a good thing for a fighter to not underestimate anybody.
You know, um, I know a lot of the critics or essentially like media, the PBC recently did like a kind of like a who do you think wins? And pretty much everyone but one has kind of tipped their pick in a way of kind of like it's going to be an exciting, barn burner fight, but they feel that it's going to be, I guess myself included, was in there, that it's going to be tipping more towards in Brandon's
Mhm.
favor, I guess off the momentum and Fulton having some adversity back to back, some fights. So in this in shape, like why is that not the case? Like from what working with Fulton, that Fulton's able to actually, pretty much shut everybody up going into this.
Well, I just want all the fans who are both a fan of Scooter and also a fan of Brandon to understand that, you know, Brandon's recent performances, he did look good, you know. But everyone learns from their last fight. Everyone learns from the current training camp. Everybody has a learning process. So even though that the fans were can say that Brandon has been looking better just because he's been fighting more doesn't necessarily mean that Scooter has gotten better. Scooter has gotten better. They both have learned from one another from the last fight. So, this is it's gonna be a good fight, man. It's gonna be a good
Mhm.
fight, but it's definitely something that, everyone is fully focused on. We know what we're up against, and that's that's basically it. I mean, everybody's gonna have their opinion, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter. Like you got people who, it could be 8 people who put their predictions in. It's a prediction. It's opinionated. It's not a fact until after the fight. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So in reality, they can have whatever the opinion that they want. It doesn't bother us.
You know, the fact that Fulton, in my opinion, his resume has been kind of underappreciated. All right, he's fought a lot of undefeated guys back to back
Yeah,
to back.
yeah, yeah.
And I've told him this recently when I interviewed him. And I made this joke, right? Like Al typically would always kind of like not do the WBO belt, right? I mean, he's done it, with Peter Quillen and things like that, but it's usually kind of that's not the route that you see PBC fighters with. And Fulton went the WBO and he fought these tough guys, and it makes the joke like either Al doesn't like you or Al really believes in you. And he's cleaned out the division, and essentially I think MJ was the only one that essentially he didn't get to unify to be undisputed. But with that, he's moving up in another weight, and it's a whole nother, division,
Hmm.
adding that extra kind of weight.
Hmm.
How do you feel that his transition, I know he had a fight before, but his transitioning from that weight to this weight.
So going from his past weight up until the 126 pound.
Hmm.
I mean, transition is fine, man. You know what I mean? It's just some adjustments that we have to make, especially that's on my responsibility to make sure that, we he doesn't lose anything and it's more gaining than anything. So
Hmm.
that's my job. And as you would know, like I take a lot of pride in my job. I take a lot of pride in my craft, and I like to cautiously pick through every single detail within this camp so he can feel good at 126, possibly, the best that he ever felt.
Hmm.
And, focusing on past physical, you know, like if an issue is, let's say, um, I don't know, like speed was an issue, I would like to focus on that and get those things better. You know what I mean? It's really hard to show significant dramatic change within the time frame that most conditioning coaches do, whether depending on who they work with. However, if you understand the science behind getting a fighter prepared, then that changes the the dynamic of preparing a fighter. You understand what I'm saying? So you have a lot of these strength coaches out here who are great at what they do. They're very experienced and they work with numerous athletes. But how many of those guys has ever been in boxing as long as they've been doing this? That's the difference. A lot of these guys, they don't know what it's like to get punched in their face, how to feel exhausted, what the weight cut feels like. You know what I mean? Like where the sacrificing comes in at during these camps. And because I have that background, I can understand and communicate and build that chemistry with the fighter better, which then helps me make those necessary adjustments from it going a either disaster type of camp or it's going to be the best camp. But that's my job. That's what I'm good at.
I know this is going to be like a very kind of obvious answer in any type of fight, but it's Fulton said at the press conference, he feels that Brandon can do one thing, right? And I know that Brandon probably feels he can do other things, and then but I know one thing that's going to be a high intensity fight. It's going to be high volume.
Mhm,
It's going to be a lot of pressure. Brandon is visibly bigger. I think he's more comfortable in this weight.
mhm.
And so I know that he's going to try to take advantage of that with, Fulton, visibly looking like the smaller guy in this weight. So, in preparation, right, can we expect Fulton's gas tank to be better than what we saw in the first fight?
I mean, his gas tank was good in the first fight, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the fight, he wasn't huffing and puffing or anything like that. He didn't take a lot of punishment. Brandon is he's like a machine. Like once he gets going, he has a good gas tank. You know what I mean? And those are some of the most frustrating type of guys to fight because it's kind of like you can try to set a rhythm, you can try to set timing. I can try to incorporate what I think suits best for the camp based off what I see from the opponent. But if a guy got a gas tank, he got a gas tank. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like now the job is to try to find ways within the style within the camp to try to neutralize exactly what he could bring no matter what way he does come. And that's really the focus, man. You know what I mean? Like this is gonna be a good fight, bro. It's gonna be solid.
With the extra weight going into the fight, I expect Fulton to still be fast and everything. But is it safe to assume that he's going to also be a little bit stronger, in this case?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. He's still gonna he's in my I mean I have my views from Scooter's last performances to what I see, and there is a change, in the positive ends. So as it all comes down to fight night. You know what I mean? When the both fighters meet up in that center of that ring, and the best man wins. That's how we coming.
You mentioned that Brandon, has a gas tank, and obviously Fulton had a gas tank in that first fight. It was 12 rounds of just pure phone booth.
Hmm.
Um, when you look into this, right, and just as a strength and conditioning coach, right, like if like they always come down to that term. If two guys are in great shape, it becomes battle nutrition, right? Like who wants it more and things like that, and how it
Yeah.
separates who ran a little bit more, things like
Mhm.
that. Like in the case of this, right? If we're expecting Brandon and Fulton both being at tip-top shape and asking from a strength coach, like, what does separate like that case where both guys are at the top? You know what I mean? They're world-class world champions. You know what I mean? These guys have, knocked out and beat other world champions, and now they're kind of like the dust is settled. So how do you get a fighter to that next level if these guys are capable of skill and their gas tank can go 15 rounds?
Mhm. From there, it's all about the IQ, man. That's where the IQ comes in. That's where the corner kicks in. Who prepped better for that fight? We've seen guys, bro, who we knew was the better fighter of the other, and the fighter who we thought was better lost. We've seen that. But we also seen guys who uh was the total opposite. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to a caliber like that, let's with the example that you're giving, where it's like both fighters come at 100%, both fighters got a gas tank, both fighters got speed, both fighters got power. What's going to separate the difference? The difference is the experience background. Scooter has fought great opposition on his way up. He's fought numerous undefeated fighters. The pressure has always been on him. He's always stand out. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, it's kind of like that's where the IQ kicks in it. You know what I mean? I mean, Scooter has got himself a really good team in that corner. Within this camp, he did everything that he's supposed to do, and I'm assuming that Brian is supposed to be doing the same thing. But it comes down to at the end, you know what I mean? We can't even say which fighter has the most skill. We can't even say that. It's just, you know, what fighter is going to be victorious based off what they do. You know what I mean? So for example, right? Let's use the example of Mayweather, right? So Mayweather can fight whoever he fights. Mayweather's always going to come very sharp, very focused, 100% every time, right? So let's just say for the opposite person, anybody. Can you find someone within your training camp, within sparring partners, who's faster than Mayweather? Yeah, you can. Can you find someone who has better power? Yes. Better defense? Yes. Better legs? Yes. Better boxing ability? Yes. But then you run into the situation where it's who are you going to find that has the same or better IQ than him? So then at this point, if all the check boxes are clear, but one is missing, that's the one that has the best chance of becoming victorious because that IQ is major. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like not just with him as a fighter, but the entire camp of who has he involved has an IQ. So that plays a major role. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a one man show. So, it's a team effort, man.
It's funny that you bring it up because, he mentioned at the press conference that this is like Floyd Maidana too. And so with your prediction on how Fulton wins, and it's not strategy or anything like that, but the difference between Brandon and him in this fight will be simply the IQ. Is that what you think?
Well, it's a lot of factors. Right now, I'm giving you the best answers that I can give without giving anything up. You know what I'm
Fair.
saying? But just know that Scooter is 100% a very smart fighter. Um, and I think people need to give him the credit that he damn well deserves. You know what I mean? He just why? Because of the performance within a way. Let's subtract that performance and what we have. What can people really say? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, he fought Castro. All right, he was at the layoff, things happen. How many fighters, in all honesty, have had bad performance? We got Floyd had a bad performance, but he still won. You know what I mean? Winning fights 7-5, that's close. You understand what I'm saying? Crawford, he had close performances. Spence had close performances. Danny had close performances. Like Triple G, Canelo. Like what are we talking about? You understand what I'm saying? Even Bevo and Better Beef, like that was close. So just because of a performance in the last doesn't mean that you're going to continue on with the next fight, fighting similar, same, you know, that's not how it works, bro. Styles make fights.
My last question when it comes to, Fulton and Brandon, everything like that. And obviously, in this case, can't really reveal the game plan and stuff like that. But, you know, um, with this win, do you think this is a bigger and better win for Fulton if he beats Brandon this time versus the first time? Or was it, you know, he took the undefeated guy
Mhm.
and beat him, so nothing's better than that. So is
Not
it
necessarily, bro, because him being victorious against Brandon. Brandon is not a slouch. Brandon is not a B class or A minus type of fighter. He's a world class fighter. So a win with that still puts him like really compare career resumes with the buildup. Like at the end of the day, Scooter still has fought plenty of non undefeated fights who people would have thought that he was going to struggle against, and he won. He's gotten one loss. Like, you know what I mean? So, if you really think about it, Brandon has a loss. So it just comes down to um, just overall, whether he beats an undefeated guy or he beats Brandon, doesn't matter. It's the point of him. He gave. Let's go backwards and remember how at the end of that first fight, they both met each other in the middle of the ring. Scooter was giving his interview, and then Brandon interrupted and wanted to say whatever he had to say. What did Scooter say? He said, "If you want to do it again, we could do it again." But Brandon wasn't comfortable at that weight, so he decided to move up. So now he's become more solidified at that weight class, as he should be. So now we go up, we fight him again. So he kept his word. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he was running from him or he's like, oh, I'll save you for last.
but does that make the case that if Fulton beats him here, that essentially this is the better quote version in his eyes, or maybe
In reality, yeah, you will have to say that because Brandon has fought comfortably at 126. He's never complained about weight. At least in the last fight, he still gave it at all. He still gave it his self a good performance, but he felt as though that the weight drained him. So we fight at 126, we become victorious. Now it's what? What you're going to say? The weight drained again, and you're going to move up to 130 and want to do it again at 130? How does that make sense? It wouldn't make sense, bro. So it's like this is it. This is the shot right here. You know what I mean? And I'm certain that Team Figueroa has not taken Scooter lightly either. You know what I mean? It's a high volume of respect from both sides. No one's talking trash about each other. No one no one is doing none of that. We know that one side is getting ready. We know the other side is getting ready, and this is when it comes showtime. It's all about trying to make the fight of the night.
and I agree. And I told Fulton that if he does beat Brandon in this case, I personally think this is the better win than the first time, which I thought he won the
And it's
first time.
possible though, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's all right, let me ask you this. Crawford goes up to 54, fights Spence again. He beat Spence at 54 when Spence was already talking about his weight cut and being there. Now he beats him, however this is the way it was, right? He just beats him. What's the better win?
I guess many people would say 147 because
You
he
see what I'm
destroyed him.
saying?
So
Right,
154,
I
he's
get
probably
it.
like
But
a like a
now that's what I'm
nah.
saying. So it's kind of like it depends. We still haven't gotten there.
That's fair.
Let's really compare performances after the fact.
Hmm.
Anything can happen, man. I mean, it's boxing. You know what I mean? I've been doing this since what, two, I've been conditioning fighters since what, 2007. So, anything can happen. Anything can happen. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it. But that's the competitiveness that the team technically has and supposed to have when it comes down to bite down. We gonna do our thing. And that's it.
I'm still gonna label it. Maybe it's my pride. I'm still gonna label the second fight if he beats him better because since the first fight was very competitive
The first
and
fight
the,
was definitely competitive, but no,
and
I'm not saying you're wrong.
no, I know.
I'm
This is
not
just
saying
me.
you're wrong. I
This is
mean,
me just
he
hype. This
beat
is me
him.
hyping. This is me
Yeah, yeah,
hyping
yeah.
it
But
up more.
he beats him. He beats him at this weight class. Yeah, it is a much better version of Brandon. Brandon was more busier, fought good competition. You know what I mean? He fought Mayaso. He fought Maldonado. He fought Castro. Like, bro, he got some names under his belt, man. So we'll see.